Today, I want to talk to you about something that can change your life forever, and that is the courage to take the first step. We all have dreams, ideas, and desires in our hearts, but so often we wait for the perfect moment or for the perfect conditions to begin. But here's the truth: perfection never comes. You'll never have all the answers, and the path ahead will never be fully clear. So, why wait? Why not push yourself to take that first step right now? You see, fear is a natural part of the process. It creeps in when we're about to step into something new, something unknown. But what fear often hides from us is the power of momentum. Once you take that first step, even if it's shaky, even if it feels uncertain, something magical begins to happen. The journey starts to unfold. The more you move, the more the path becomes clear. The more you push yourself, the more momentum you gain. And soon enough, you'll look back and wonder why you ever hesitated. Self-belief is crucial. It's easy to doubt ourselves, especially when the road ahead feels too long or too difficult. But you have everything within you to take that first step. You are capable of more than you know. And even though you may not have all the answers today, trust that by simply starting, you will grow along the way. Believe in your own ability to figure things out and to overcome the obstacles that come your way. The truth is, your first step doesn't have to be perfect. So many people get stuck because they feel they need to have everything aligned, every detail figured out. But that's not the way it works. Just move forward. Even if it's a small step, it is still a step. And that action, no matter how small, is what starts to build the foundation for your success. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. The most extraordinary things in life happen when we challenge ourselves to step into the unknown. Taking that first step might feel uncomfortable, but it's in that discomfort that you'll find growth, strength, and resilience. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for everything to be right. Push yourself to take that first step, and the rest will follow. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, every great journey starts with one step. So take it today. Your future self will thank you for it. Fear is a natural response to stepping into the unknown, a force that holds us back from pursuing our dreams and taking the actions we know are necessary for growth. It's something that we all experience, no matter who we are or where we are in life. But what we don't always realize is that fear, while very real, is not an insurmountable obstacle. It's often just a sign that we are on the verge of something meaningful. The truth is, fear is a constant companion on the journey to personal growth, but it doesn't have to be the one that drives the car. We have the power to decide whether we let fear stop us, or if we push through it, stepping boldly into the unknown. Fear often manifests itself as a voice inside our heads that tells us we're not ready, that we don't have the skills, or that we might fail. It's an internal dialogue that feeds our doubts and insecurities. This is why so many of us get stuck in a cycle of inaction. We wait for the perfect moment when we feel ready, hoping for the circumstances to align or for the self-doubt to disappear. But waiting for the perfect moment can become an endless loop. The perfect moment, the right time, will never come because that's not how life works. The truth is, the first step is always the hardest, but it's also the most important. When you push yourself to take that first step despite the fear, something incredible happens. You begin to move beyond the fear. The act of taking action, even if it's small, disrupts the hold that fear has on you. It shows you that fear doesn't have to paralyze you. It can be the very fuel that propels you forward. When you take action in the face of fear, you break the cycle of inaction and start creating momentum. Each step, no matter how small, tells your brain that it's safe to move forward. You're showing yourself that fear is not the enemy. It's simply a sign that you're about to step into new territory. What we often don't realize is that fear, in many ways, is a natural part of the process of growth. Think about the last time you felt afraid to try something new, whether it was speaking in public, starting a new job, or taking on a new project. The fear didn't mean you couldn't do it. It simply meant you were about to do something that was going to challenge you, something that would force you to grow and evolve. Without that fear, there would be no room for growth, no opportunity for progress. Growth happens when we push ourselves past our comfort zones, when we step into uncertainty and take a leap of faith in ourselves. Fear is also closely linked to the idea of failure. Many people avoid taking that first step because they fear they will fail. But failure isn't the end. It's part of the journey. The fear of failure holds so many people back, preventing them from even starting because they're terrified of what might happen if things don't go according to plan. The key is to reframe failure as feedback. Every time you try and something doesn't work out, you learn something valuable that helps you move closer to success. Failure isn't a reflection of your worth. It's simply an opportunity to adjust, learn, and grow stronger. We also often hold ourselves back because of comparison. We look at others who seem to have it all together, and we think that we aren't capable of reaching those heights. But the truth is, everyone starts somewhere, and everyone experiences fear. What separates those who succeed from those who don't is their ability to push through fear and take action despite the uncertainty. The key is to focus on your own journey and take the steps that feel right for you, not based on what others are doing. By comparing ourselves to others, we can fall into the trap of paralyzing fear and self-doubt. But once we realize that we are the authors of our own story, and that fear is just a temporary emotion, we can take the necessary steps to create the life we want. So, the next time fear creeps in and tells you that you're not ready, or that you should wait until the circumstances are just right, remember that you are more than capable of taking that first step. Fear will never disappear completely, but you have the power to choose how you respond to it. When you push through it, you'll discover that the fear isn't as big or as scary as it first seemed. It's just a sign that you're growing, learning, and stepping into a new version of yourself. The only way to truly overcome fear is to move through it. And the first step is always the hardest but the most rewarding. So, don't wait, take that first step today. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with that one small, brave step. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. And once you experience it, you'll realize how essential it is to achieving your goals. It's easy to feel stuck when we're at the beginning of a journey. Whether it's a career change, a new project, or a personal transformation, the start can often seem overwhelming. The task ahead may appear daunting, and the uncertainty of the road ahead can paralyze us. But what we don't always recognize is that momentum is something that builds from the very first action we take, and it's this momentum that often propels us forward when the going gets tough. The key to making progress is not waiting for everything to be perfect. It's about starting, even when it's uncomfortable. When you take that first step, whether it's a small, seemingly insignificant one or a large, bold leap, you are initiating something much bigger than just an action. You're creating energy. Just like pushing a car that's stuck in neutral, the first push requires more effort. But once the car begins to roll, the effort needed to keep it going decreases, and the car begins to move on its own. This is momentum in action. Momentum works in the same way. When you take that first step, it might feel difficult, and you may feel unsure. But as you keep moving, the process becomes easier, and your confidence grows. The more you move, the less energy it takes to keep going. The more you take action, the clearer the path ahead becomes. One of the most profound truths about momentum is that it builds on itself. Every small step you take brings you closer to where you want to be, and each step creates a ripple effect. These small actions add up over time, and before you know it, you're moving forward faster and with greater ease. This is the magic of momentum. It creates its own fuel. It's why successful people seem to always be on the move, seemingly unstoppable. They understand the power of momentum and how it compounds over time. They also know that even when things get difficult, they only need to keep taking the next step. But here's the truth. Momentum doesn't just happen on its own. It requires intentional action. This means that if you want to build momentum, you must first overcome the inertia of staying still. It's easy to get comfortable in your current situation and talk about what you want to achieve without ever doing anything about it. But the moment you take action, even in the face of doubt or fear, is when the momentum starts to build. Taking action in the face of uncertainty is what shifts you from thinking about doing something to actually doing it. That shift is where the power of momentum begins. Momentum also has a way of influencing our mindset. As we start to move forward, we begin to see results, however small, and those results fuel our belief in the process. Each action reinforces the idea that we are capable of creating the life we want. It's this belief that keeps us going, even when obstacles arise. Momentum doesn't just help you physically move forward, it also shifts your internal landscape. It builds resilience and confidence. The more steps you take, the more you prove to yourself that you can handle what comes next. And with each new achievement, no matter how small, you build trust in yourself and your ability to navigate challenges. We must recognize that momentum can also work in the opposite direction. If we allow ourselves to remain stagnant, to procrastinate, or to constantly delay taking action, we lose the energy we could be building. This is why it's so important to act as soon as possible, even if the first step seems minor or imperfect. Every time you delay, you give the inertia more time to settle in. Momentum requires a willingness to keep moving forward, even if it feels difficult at first. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to push yourself into motion. The beauty of momentum lies in the fact that it grows exponentially. Once you begin, things start to gain speed. It's like pushing a snowball down a hill. The longer it rolls, the bigger it gets. The same is true for your actions. When you build momentum, you'll find that opportunities, resources, and inspiration begin to align in ways that seemed impossible when you were standing still. It's as if the universe starts to open doors and provide support once you've taken that first courageous step. But this doesn't happen until you start. Without action, there is no momentum, and without momentum, progress becomes slow and difficult. Momentum is what allows you to keep going, even when you don't feel like it. It carries you through the days when your energy is low or when doubts arise. It's a force that works in your favor, but only if you commit to starting and then continuing. As you keep moving, you'll be amazed at how much easier it becomes to take the next step, and the next, and the next. Each action you take compounds, creating a force so powerful that nothing can stop you from reaching your destination. So, don't wait for the perfect moment to begin, just start. The momentum you create will carry you through the toughest parts of your journey and will be the key to your success. The journey to reaching our full potential is rarely a straight line. It is filled with obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But one of the most powerful truths to hold on to as you push yourself to take the first step is that the obstacles and difficulties you encounter along the way are not signs that you're on the wrong path. In fact, they are often the very things that teach you the most valuable lessons and provide the opportunities for growth that you need to evolve into the person you are meant to become. Every challenge you face is an invitation to learn, adapt, and become stronger. This is a fundamental truth that can transform how we view difficulty and adversity. Challenges are not things to be avoided. They are opportunities in disguise. When you begin a new endeavor, whether it's pursuing a career goal, working on personal development, or trying to improve your relationships, you will inevitably encounter hurdles. These challenges can feel discouraging, especially when you're still in the early stages of your journey. You may question whether you made the right choice or whether you're truly capable of achieving what you set out to do. It's natural to feel this way. We've all been there. And yet the ability to push forward in the face of challenges is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. The key is to understand that challenges are part of the process, not roadblocks. When you push yourself to take that first step, you're often entering unknown territory. One of the most profound aspects of challenges is how they teach us to develop new perspectives. The problems that arise during the course of your journey are not there to derail you. They are there to teach you something valuable. Perhaps it's a new skill, a different way of thinking, or a lesson about perseverance. Whatever it is, these challenges often contain the exact thing you need in order to move forward. The ability to see obstacles as opportunities is what allows you to grow, rather than feel defeated. In fact, when you begin to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, you will notice that your approach to setbacks changes. Instead of feeling discouraged by a failure, you'll be able to ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I improve moving forward? This mindset shift can make all the difference. By reframing challenges in this way, you begin to take ownership of your journey. You stop seeing yourself as a passive participant and become an active creator of your future. Every time you face a challenge, you have the choice to either let it define you or to use it as a stepping stone to propel you forward. Challenges help us build resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back after adversity, and it is something that we all must cultivate if we are to succeed in life. Resilience doesn't come from avoiding challenges. It comes from confronting them and continuing to move forward despite the difficulties. Each time you overcome a challenge, you strengthen your resilience, and it becomes easier to face the next one. The more resilient you become, the more confident you'll feel in your ability to handle anything that comes your way. It's also important to remember that challenges are often the catalyst for innovation and creativity. When things are easy, there's no need to think outside the box. But when faced with a challenge, you are forced to get creative, to think in new ways, and to come up with solutions you may never have considered before. In many ways, challenges unlock our full creative potential. They push us to think differently, problem solve, and innovate in ways that lead to breakthroughs. Some of the greatest inventions, artistic creations, and discoveries throughout history were born out of a response to challenges. It's also worth considering the influence of perseverance. The challenges you face are not a reflection of your worth or abilities. They are simply tests of your persistence. The more you push through, the more you prove to yourself that you can overcome anything. Each time you rise above a challenge, you reinforce your belief in your own strength and capabilities. Over time, the belief that you can face and overcome anything becomes deeply ingrained within you, making it easier to keep going, even when things seem impossible. Remember, the first step may be difficult, but the challenges that come after will help you become the person you need to be to achieve your goals. They are not obstacles to your success. They are essential components of it. So, as you push yourself to take that first step, know that the challenges you face are part of the process and part of your personal evolution. Embrace them, learn from them, and use them to propel yourself forward. Each challenge you conquer brings you closer to your destination, and the more challenges you face, the stronger and more capable you will become. Especially when faced with the unknown. This is where many people get stuck. They feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the journey ahead and worry about how much work it will take to achieve their goals. It's easy to get trapped in the idea that you need everything to be perfectly in place before you begin. However, waiting for the perfect moment to act can hold you back for years, preventing you from making any real progress. The truth is, taking action doesn't require perfection. It requires courage. You don't need all the answers, and you don't need a clear, flawless path. What matters most is that you begin. In the early stages of any venture, the path may not be clear, and you might not have every piece of the puzzle. In fact, you may not even know exactly where the journey will take you. This uncertainty is what often holds people back. They're waiting for certainty, for signs that everything will turn out exactly how they imagined. But life doesn't work that way. The first step is always a leap into the unknown, and it's through this very leap that the clarity and the next steps will emerge. Perfection is an illusion. It is not something that exists at the start of the journey. It is something that is developed along the way. When you begin, you unlock a process that moves you from uncertainty to discovery. The act of starting brings a sense of direction. It's through action that you will gain insight into what works and what doesn't, allowing you to make course corrections as needed. This is why it is so important not to wait for the perfect moment or perfect conditions. If you keep waiting for everything to fall into place, you could be waiting forever. The conditions may never be just right. Starting is the way to discover the conditions you need. And as you take each step forward, you build the confidence to keep going. Even when things aren't perfect, success isn't about waiting for the right moment. It's about making the moment right by taking action. It's in the messy, imperfect journey that you learn the most about yourself and the world around you. Starting before you feel ready helps you build momentum. One of the biggest obstacles to success is the inertia of staying in one place, not doing anything because it feels too daunting. But once you begin, you create energy. Momentum is what makes progress feel easier, even when the task ahead still seems difficult. Each step you take, no matter how small, makes the next one a little easier. Momentum keeps you moving forward when you feel like giving up. The act of getting started is the beginning of a cycle that will propel you toward success, even when you don't have all the answers yet. Starting is also a powerful way to build resilience. When you act, you will inevitably encounter challenges, and each challenge becomes an opportunity to develop your strength and perseverance. The more you act, the more you learn how to bounce back from setbacks. The first step is often the hardest, but it's the one that sets you up for the rest of your journey. As you face each hurdle, you will learn that setbacks are not signs of failure, but part of the process. Over time, you become more adaptable, more resourceful, and more capable of handling whatever comes your way. Another reason starting before you feel ready is essential is that it helps you confront your fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, or fear of judgment can be paralyzing. But by taking the first step, you face your fears head on and begin to diminish their power over you. The longer you wait, the bigger the fear becomes. The longer you stay in your comfort zone, the harder it is to break out. But once you begin, you start to see that the fear wasn't as big as you thought. It starts to shrink, and with each action, you grow in confidence. Starting gives you the strength to face fear and move beyond it. You realize that your fear doesn't control you. It's just a natural part of the journey. Remember, progress doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. The people who achieve success are not the ones who wait until everything is perfect. They are the ones who keep going, despite the uncertainty. They understand that action is the antidote to fear and doubt. They know that the first step is just the beginning of a process that will reveal the way forward. You can't wait for all the pieces to fall into place before you act. You have to start with what you have, with what you know, and let the journey unfold as you go. Every small action leads to greater clarity, greater confidence, and ultimately, greater success. Taking the first step may feel uncomfortable, but that discomfort is a sign of growth. You're stepping outside of your comfort zone, and that's where transformation happens. So don't wait for perfection. Start now, even if it feels messy. As you take each step, the path will become clearer, and you'll discover strengths you never knew you had. The first step is all it takes to begin the incredible journey that will lead you to where you want to go. Don't wait. Take the first step today. When you push yourself to take the first step, you not only set the wheels of change in motion, but you also gain a profound sense of ownership over your life. The act of taking that step is a powerful declaration that you are in control, that you are the one who is responsible for the direction of your journey. Often, we find ourselves waiting for the perfect time or the right circumstances to act. But in truth, the act of starting is what begins to shape the path ahead, and you hold the power to determine how that path unfolds. What is so remarkable about taking the first step is that it immediately shifts your mindset. You go from being a passive observer, someone who is waiting for something to happen, to an active participant who is taking charge of their future. It's a realization that you are the creator of your own destiny. The choices you make, the actions you take, and the decisions you make are the driving forces behind where you end up. This sense of empowerment is a transformative experience. It makes you feel more connected to your purpose and more aligned with your goals. When you take that first step, you also begin to see that small actions lead to bigger outcomes. The first step may seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but it is the foundation on which everything else is built. Every great achievement, every major success begins with one small decision. By taking the first step, you are building momentum that will carry you forward. The further you go, the clearer the road becomes, and the more confident you become in your ability to navigate any challenges that arise. You may not have everything figured out, but taking that first step is what puts you on the path to discovering what's possible.